If God created Satan perfect, where did his evil come from? If God is perfect, how did evil enter the world? Have you ever wondered how evil could exist if God is truly good and created everything in perfection? It's a question that challenges our deepest beliefs, stirring up a curiosity that refuses to be easily settled. Imagine a world where the most beautiful and wise being, created by God Himself, becomes the source of all darkness and suffering. How could this happen? If God made Satan perfect, how did evil find its way into the world? This is not just a theological puzzle. It's a question that touches the core of our understanding of life, suffering, and the nature of God Himself. The answer might surprise you, shake you, and even change the way you see the world. It's a story of pride, rebellion, and consequences that span eternity, one that offers not just answers but also a reflection on our own lives. Could the same seeds of pride that led to Satan's fall be at work in us today? As we unravel this mystery, you'll discover that the story of Satan is more than just an ancient tale. It's a mirror reflecting our own struggles with power, temptation, and the choices we make every day. Stay with me, and let's dive into the depths of this profound question together, finding not just understanding, but also a path forward in a world where good and evil are in constant conflict. Imagine a celestial being, crafted in perfection, radiant in wisdom and beauty. This being, known as Satan, was originally made by God without any blemish or flaw. He was not an angel of light, endowed with extraordinary gifts, and had a high purpose. But what can we learn from Satan's creation? Just as a master craftsman shapes his masterpiece with precision, God formed Satan to be an example of what is good and perfect. He was designed to reflect divine glory, much like we are called to express the best of ourselves in all we do, acknowledging that even the greatest of creations can fall without humility and respect for the Creator. However, Satan wasn't just created to be beautiful and wise. He had a specific function in the cosmos. He was tasked with being a guardian of light, a being who should protect and promote goodness. His responsibility was immense, but not unlike the responsibilities we carry in our lives. Think of a business leader who must care for their team, not just for the success of the company, but for the well-being of each member. Just as that leader must balance power with compassion, Satan had power but lacked balance, something that, as we will see, would have devastating consequences. Satan's creation also reminds us that perfection is not synonymous with invulnerability. Even the wisest and most beautiful of angels was susceptible to flaws. This is a crucial point for all of us. No matter how capable we are, there is always a need for constant vigilance over our own hearts and motivations. If a being like Satan, created in perfection, can fall, how much more should we, as human beings, guard ourselves daily against the traps of vanity or pride? The story of Satan, in his creation, serves as a mirror for our own lives. How often do we feel immune to mistakes, believing that our abilities or status protect us? In truth, it is precisely in those moments of overconfidence that we are most vulnerable. A practical example can be seen in the lives of great leaders who, upon reaching the peak of their careers, let arrogance take over, only to see their empires crumble. Thus, Satan's creation is a clear lesson that humility and constant self-reflection are essential to avoid a fall. It's also important to highlight that while Satan was created perfect, divine perfection does not eliminate free will. Satan had the ability to choose, just as we do every day. Every decision we make, every path we take, reflects this freedom that God has given us. And just as Satan had the power to choose his destiny, so do we have the power to decide our steps, to shape our journey with wisdom or, if not careful, with pride and stubbornness. Satan's fall is a cautionary tale that echoes through the ages, a story of how pride can corrupt even the most perfect of beings. Originally created as not angel of light, Satan's wisdom and beauty became the very catalyst for his downfall. He began to admire his own magnificence, allowing arrogance to take root. This pride didn't just appear overnight. It grew slowly, like a seed planted deep within, nurtured by self-obsession. The lesson here is clear. Unchecked pride can lead anyone down a path of self-destruction, regardless of how exalted they may be. When Satan chose to rebel, it wasn't just a simple act of disobedience. It was not outright challenge to God's authority. He desired to elevate himself above all others, even attempting to place himself on equal footing with God. This ambition led him to deceive other angels, persuading them to join his cause. It's a stark reminder of how one person's unchecked ambition can ripple out, affecting others and leading them astray. In our own lives, we must be wary of those who, out of pride, seek to pull others into their personal rebellions, whether in workplaces, communities, or even personal relationships. The fall of Satan also serves as a reminder that wisdom, without humility, can be dangerous. His intelligence, which should have been used for good, became twisted as his heart grew darker. It's like a brilliant leader who loses sight of their mission and begins to manipulate their influence for selfish gain. We see this in history and even in modern times. Leaders who start with noble intentions but, over time, are consumed by the desire for more power, leading to their eventual downfall. This pattern is a powerful example of why humility must accompany wisdom to keep it grounded. What's striking about Satan's fall is how it reveals the destructive power of self-obsession. In focusing solely on his own glory, Satan lost sight of his purpose and his place in creation. This mirrors the human tendency to become so absorbed in personal success or appearance that we forget our responsibilities to others and to the greater good. In today's world, where self-promotion is often encouraged, it's crucial to remember that true greatness lies not in exalting oneself, but in serving others with humility and integrity. Satan's rebellion against God wasn't just an act of pride. It was the ultimate act of ingratitude. Despite being given everything, he sought more, wanting to dethrone the very Creator who gave him life. This speaks volumes about the dangers of never being satisfied, of always wanting more regardless of the cost. In our lives, this can be seen in the endless pursuit of material wealth or status, often leading to a hollow existence. Satan's fall is a reminder that contentment and gratitude are vital to a fulfilled life, keeping us grounded and aligned with our true purpose. As we consider the consequences of Satan's pride, we are led to the broader implications of his rebellion. The Bible provides us with detailed accounts of Satan's original state and his subsequent fall, painting a vivid picture of his journey from perfection to rebellion. The prophet Isaiah describes him as the morning star, a being of great brilliance who once held a position of honor in heaven. This imagery is powerful, conveying not just Satan's beauty but also the heights from which he fell. When we consider this, it's a stark reminder that no matter how high we rise, the potential for a fall is always present if we lose sight of our purpose and let pride take over. Ezekiel goes even further, offering a glimpse into the heart of Satan's rebellion. He was blameless in his ways, from the day of his creation until wickedness was found in him. This passage highlights the gradual nature of his fall, as pride and corruption slowly took hold. It's like a small crack in a dam that, if left unchecked, can lead to a catastrophic breach. For us, this serves as a warning to address the small issues in our lives before they grow into something unmanageable, whether it's a habit, not attitude, or a relationship that's beginning to fracture. The New Testament also sheds light on Satan's fall, particularly in the book of Luke, where Jesus himself speaks of seeing Satan fall like lightning from heaven. This vivid image underscores the sudden and dramatic nature of Satan's expulsion from heaven. It wasn't just a minor setback, it was a decisive and irreversible event. When we reflect on this, it reminds us that the consequences of pride and rebellion can be swift and severe, leading to a sudden downfall that can be difficult, if not impossible, to recover from. Throughout these biblical accounts, there is a consistent theme. Satan's fall was a direct result of his pride and self-obsession. This is not just a story from ancient texts, it's a timeless lesson that resonates with us today. Whether in personal relationships, careers, or spiritual journeys, the dangers of pride are ever present. By studying these scriptures, we gain insight into the importance of humility and the need to keep our hearts aligned with higher principles, avoiding the pitfalls that led to Satan's downfall. These passages also challenge us to consider the broader implications of Satan's fall. It wasn't just a personal failure. It had cosmic consequences, affecting not just Satan, but the entire creation. This invites us to think about how our actions, too, have ripple effects beyond ourselves. Pride is often seen as the root of all evil, and Satan's story is perhaps the most potent illustration of this truth. His prideful desire to be equal with God led to his downfall and subsequent expulsion from heaven. This wasn't just a personal loss for Satan. It marked the beginning of a cosmic struggle between good and evil. Pride, when unchecked, has the power to corrupt even the purest of beings, turning wisdom into folly and strength into weakness. It's a reminder that no matter how high we climb, we must always guard against the dangers of arrogance and self-importance. The consequences of pride are not limited to spiritual realms. They manifest in our everyday lives as well. Think of a talented professional who begins to believe they are indispensable. This mindset can lead to overconfidence, neglecting the importance of teamwork, and ultimately to a fall from grace within their career. Just as Satan's pride led to his expulsion from heaven, our own pride can lead to isolation, strained relationships, and lost opportunities. It's crucial to remember that humility is not a weakness, but a strength that keeps us grounded and connected to others. Pride doesn't just affect the individual. It has far-reaching consequences that can impact entire communities or even nations. History is replete with examples of leaders whose pride led to disastrous decisions, resulting in war, economic collapse, or social upheaval. Satan's ambition to overthrow God's authority caused a rebellion that introduced sin and suffering into the world. This teaches us that our actions, fueled by pride, can have a ripple effect, causing harm far beyond what we might anticipate. Being mindful of this can help us make decisions that are not only beneficial to ourselves, but also to those around us. In a more personal context, pride can create barriers in our relationships. When we are too focused on our own importance, we can become blind to the needs and feelings of others. This can lead to conflicts, misunderstandings, and a breakdown in communication. Satan's pride led him to believe that he could stand alone, separate from the very Creator who gave him life. Similarly, when we let pride take over, we might find ourselves isolated, disconnected from those we care about. Practicing humility, on the other hand, opens the door to empathy, understanding, and stronger, healthier relationships. The consequences of pride are also evident in the way it distorts our perception of reality. When we become consumed by pride, we start to see ourselves as invincible, leading to reckless behavior and poor decision-making. Satan's pride led him to believe that he could challenge God's authority and win. This delusion was his undoing, leading to his eternal downfall. In our lives, this same pattern can emerge if we allow pride to cloud our judgment. By staying humble, we maintain a clear perspective, making decisions that are wise, thoughtful, and aligned with our true purpose. The Bible is rich with references that detail the origin and nature of evil, providing us with a deeper understanding of Satan's fall and its consequences. In the book of Isaiah, we find a vivid description of Satan's prideful rebellion. Isaiah 14 verses 12 to 15 speaks of the morning star, who sought to ascend above the clouds and make himself like the Most High. This passage not only illustrates Satan's ambition, but also his ultimate failure and downfall. It's a powerful reminder that no matter how lofty our ambitions, they must be tempered with humility, or we risk a similar fate. Ezekiel 28:12-17 offers another perspective, describing Satan as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and beauty. Yet, despite his perfect creation, iniquity was found in him. His heart became proud because of his splendor, and this pride led to his downfall. The story in Ezekiel emphasizes that even those who are seemingly perfect can fall victim to pride. It serves as a cautionary tale for all of us, reminding us to remain vigilant against the subtle ways pride can creep into our lives, distorting our sense of self and purpose. The New Testament also contributes to our understanding of Satan's fall. In Luke 10 verse 18, Jesus himself says, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." This statement highlights the suddenness and severity of Satan's expulsion from heaven. It wasn't just a gradual decline. It was a swift and decisive act of divine justice. This imagery reinforces the idea that the consequences of pride and rebellion can be both immediate and irreversible, urging us to consider the weight of our actions and the potential for a similar downfall if we stray too far from humility and righteousness. The book of Revelation further elaborates on the ongoing battle between good and evil that Satan's rebellion set in motion. Revelation 12 verses 7-9 describes a great war in heaven, with Satan and his angels being cast out after a fierce struggle. This passage not only recounts Satan's ultimate defeat, but also signifies the ongoing conflict between the forces of good and evil, a struggle that continues to influence our world today. It reminds us that the battle against pride and sin is not just an individual fight, but part of a larger cosmic struggle, one that requires constant vigilance and faith. In addition to these direct references, the Bible offers numerous other passages that allude to the nature of evil and its origins. For example, 1 Peter 5 verse 8 warns us to be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. This verse encapsulates the ever-present danger of evil in our lives and the need for constant awareness and resistance. It ties back to the story of Satan, reminding us that the forces of evil are always at work, seeking to exploit our weaknesses, and that we must be steadfast in our faith and humility to resist them. The fall of Satan is more than just a story of personal downfall. It marks the introduction of evil into the world, with consequences that continue to ripple through history. When Satan rebelled against God, he didn't just fall alone. He brought sin and suffering into creation. This act of rebellion set the stage for the ongoing battle between good and evil that defines the human experience. It's a reminder that our choices, especially those rooted in pride, can have far-reaching effects that extend beyond ourselves, influencing the lives of others in ways we might never anticipate. One of the most profound impacts of Satan's fall is the introduction of temptation into the world. Satan, in his desire to corrupt what God created, became the tempter, luring humanity into sin. The story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden is a prime example of this. Satan, in the form of a serpent, tempted them with the promise of knowledge and power, leading to their disobedience and the subsequent fall of mankind. This event illustrates how temptation, when coupled with pride, can lead to devastating consequences, not just for individuals, but for all of humanity. The introduction of evil into the world also brought about the reality of spiritual warfare. Since Satan's fall, there has been an ongoing struggle between the forces of good and evil, a battle that plays out in both the spiritual and physical realms. This warfare affects us all, influencing our thoughts, actions, and the world around us. Understanding this struggle is crucial, as it helps us recognize the importance of staying vigilant and grounded in our faith. Just as soldiers prepare for battle, we too must equip ourselves with the tools and knowledge needed to resist the forces of evil and stand firm in our beliefs. Satan's fall also introduced the concept of suffering into the world. Before his rebellion, there was no pain, no death, only perfect harmony in God's creation. But with his fall, suffering became a part of the human experience. This suffering can take many forms: physical, emotional, spiritual, and it's something we all face at different points in our lives. Yet, while suffering is a consequence of sin, it also presents an opportunity for growth and redemption. In the midst of our struggles, we can choose to turn to God, seeking his guidance and strength to overcome the challenges we face. The fall of Satan serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of pride and rebellion, but it also offers us hope. Despite the introduction of evil into the world, God's ultimate plan for redemption remains intact. Through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the power of sin and death has been broken, offering us a path to salvation. As we come to the end of this exploration, it's time to ask yourself, how will you apply this knowledge in your life? The battle between good and evil is not just a story from ancient texts. It's a reality that each of us faces daily. How will you stand firm against the temptations and pride that led to Satan's downfall? Will you choose humility and faith, or will you let arrogance and self-obsession steer your course? If this message has touched your heart, if you feel a pull towards something greater, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on what this means for you. Maybe it's time to take a step of faith, to accept Jesus into your life, and to trust in his plans and purpose for you. He's waiting with open arms, ready to guide you through the challenges and victories that lie ahead. Before you go, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more amazing teachings from the Bible. And if this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Did it stir something in your heart? Are you ready to make a change? Remember, Jesus has incredible plans for your life, And all it takes is one step of faith to begin a journey that will transform everything. And if you enjoyed this video, I believe you'll also love my recommendation. Click on the card that's on your screen and watch the incredible story. Why Jesus had to meet Moses and Elijah at the Mount of Transfiguration. Bible Mysteries Explained dive into this mysterious and revealing story and discover the deeper meanings within the Bible. May God bless you immensely, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.